And right before the night of that shooting is what led up to that very moment.
Well, it was pretty much I got in a lot of trouble with guns and things like that, but I just wasn't caught. So it's not like it was my first rodeo per se when I end up getting into the crime that got me booked. Uh, I ended up getting into an altercation with my sister's ex-boyfriend. We got into this confrontation. It spun out of control, and I ended up shooting him twice. This happened in December of 2006 on Christmas Eve, and I escaped the scene before the police got there. So I basically hid out in a friend's house, kind of waited to see what was going to happen because at the moment I didn't even know if he was alive or not. So Christmas morning came the next day. I saw it on the news. I saw my face there that I was wanted, and word had gotten back that he was hit twice, but he wasn't dead. So then I knew, okay, now I need to figure something out. Like my life is probably over at this point.
I'm curious on this point on this one is you were filled up with so much rage and anger in the moment where you acted with when you acted without really thinking about much repercussions, right?
Yeah.
When that moment happened, were you more frightened or were you more lived in regret? Like, did you have a moment of regret? What was
I
your
don't
emotion at the time?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think I had any regret at the moment, even afterward, because I was convinced what I was doing was protecting myself and protecting my family. I definitely was afraid in that moment, knowing what I did and knowing what was going to come after that. But I was a bit delusional in the sense of I'm going to find a way out of this. Like I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to get away. This can go away, and I just needed time to figure that out. So I kind of shacked up in a friend's house that nobody really knew I was cool with at the time, and stayed there for a month or two, and then uh, I was able to get a couple of fake IDs down in Philly, and I left on the bus and was basically taking a bus trip across the country to go stay with some other friends and connections that I had in Texas and in California
Wow. So you were on the run for a short time.
for 13 months.
For
Yeah.
13 months you were on the run. And when did you end up getting caught or did you end up eventually turning yourself in?
I got caught, so I took the same mindset, even though I got away from Pennsylvania. I took the same mindset with me, the troublemaker mindset, the anger, the bad habits, and I ended up getting in trouble out in California, and I fled down to Texas. So I was in this position of, I can't go back to the West Coast, I can't go back to the East Coast. So my thought process was, I'm gonna go back to the East Coast and I'm gonna hurt him again, like to the point, I wanted to take him out so I can go to court and there would be no victim to testify against me that the first case happened. So I went and thankfully I was caught before that. I went to visit a friend who had just beat a case, but the district attorney had refiled charges against him. So they raided his place looking for him, and I was there. So that's how I got apprehended.
So during this 13 months, you were still filled up with so much rage do, when you were filled up with so much rage, what emotion was going on in your mind? I know you filled up with so much anger, but if someone is filled up with so much rage and they essentially want to get rid of somebody, right? Or they want somebody to get out of their way, essentially. Is what advice would you give to them that they can learn from your experience?
I think when we're that level of angry, we're really blinded by the impact of it. People when they're upset, their vision's completely clouded, their thought processes, their ability to think long term. No one thinks about the repercussions it's going to have on your family, if you have children, your loved ones, the victim's family, and and yourself, right? I mean, to do something like that to someone obviously would cost my life. And I think during the time on the run, I had people who, wanted revenge against me for what I did. I had other problems I was getting into. So I really felt alone, and I felt like, you watching your face on the news, you're seeing your face in articles online and in newspaper, and people are talking, and that stuff gets back to you. And then I was paranoid about the police in general. Like, how do I know they're not going to kill me when they see me? Um, I was very much feeling like I wasn't going to get out of this situation alive, which, only clouded my judgment on how I should behave leading up to that moment. So in a way, when I did get booked, although it was a new set of problems for me to face, there was a sense of relief. Like, I'm alive. They didn't shoot me. No one else got me. I'm still in one piece, and now I have to pay for this decision that I made.
Now that you're incarcerated in prison, you're facing, well, you said 5 years, right?